day behind you, good times lie ahead. With company worth keeping, that'll bash a smile on your head. Come on in, the door's open, you'll find just the finest folks here. Pull up a chair, grab a drink, and lend our stories your ear. Cause we're the talk to the tavern. Here you're always welcome. The talk to the tavern. Promising beer and bedlam. The talk to the tavern. Music, medicine, then some. The talk to the tavern. The song's over. Here we come.
Okay, and welcome to Monday Night Talk of the Tavern, where we're going to be discussing UFOs. Yeah, surprise. Nobody saw this one coming, did they? You guys keep commenting. I'll get to those in a moment. I am the host, Travis, and I am drinking bourbon. Henry McKenna. Wow, she knows it better than I do.
I buy it for you sometimes. I know.
And Coke Zero. What about you? You care to introduce yourself?
I'm Andrea. Or Andrea LeJack. I'm drinking tea out of Batman. Ready?
A Batman glass.
Whatever. Made with real
Trin
Batman.
says, I'm Trinity, and I'm drinking milk. Kinky.
Because it does a body good.
Kinky. Ginger, what the hell is Bati? Chris, what do you got? And who are you? And what are you doing? Do you have pants?
I'm Chris. No, I'm not wearing pants, and I am drinking Viking blood mead.
Very good.
He never wears
Now,
pants.
Ginger clarified with bat tea. And Kevin says, aliens live amongst us and write content for the History Channel. He's probably not
I've
wrong.
seen Men in Black. Some of them were teachers.
They were. Now, what about you, Elizabeth? What do you got there?
I have.
She's breathing heavily into that mic while she's dumping ice everywhere.
I never know it's you or her. Well, it's breathing. With the ice, I know. Go ahead.
Downstairs running. I'm sorry. I am drinking my favorite water. And once again tonight, on sale, Bushmills.
I did recently Bushmills Irish whiskey. I picked up the Jameson Caskmates with the Stout Edition, which if you haven't had it, Elizabeth, it's about $35 to $38 for 0.750 liters. Very good, very smooth, great flavor.
I like Caskmates. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, it's very good. And Tajintra says, cherry mead is awesome. You don't have cherry mead, do you, Chris?
No, it's their regular. They've got like 3 of them. Which one is this? This one is hibiscus and hops.
Well, that sounds horrifying, but I could be wrong. The hell is that noise?
It's what you had when I brought it down.
Take a look at the help section.
What the hell did we say that she woke up?
Alexa, off.
I'm having trouble connecting
Don't
to
talk
the
to her.
internet.
She's in the
Take a
corner.
look at the help section.
Don't even talk to her.
Jeez.
A
You said hibiscus.
Don't say it
a
again.
few.
That's her safe word.
Trin says, I had a Mike's Lemonade the other day. Does that count as alcohol? Absolutely does. Tajinter says, drinking Blackheart rum earlier, and the name brand, the name brand of the mead is Viking Blood. But we did a rum tasting 2 weeks ago, I think, maybe 3.
A couple weeks ago.
And we
Chris
did have
was here.
Blackheart rum in it. Indeed, he was. So, yeah. Oh, that's a fair point. Tajinter says, we were talking about aliens, and she started listening.
Well, she's AI.
I think that's a great idea. What do you guys think? Could yeah.
That's how they listen to us.
We're going to call her Miss A, so she doesn't wake up. She stays sleeping. Yeah, Miss A is an alien? What do you think, guys?
I'm sorry, I don't think I can do that for you.
Does not compute.
Kevin says, I'm homesick now. Why? They didn't come pick you up and take you back to your mother world? There's a lovely little brewery distillery who makes mead on the island using local honey. They serve it now in the steampunk style bar we went to. Which one?
There was like 13 bars. You need to narrow it down.
Yeah, Kev. Which bar? So, real
Oh,
quick.
are those the monks that make the mead and the wine? I want to try that.
Not
Oh,
a
yeah. Remember? He had that place. He should.
Has anybody encountered or seen an alien or UFO?
Yes.
Possibly, probably.
Well,
Yes.
it's an unidentified flying object. When I was in Michigan, I lived on an island up there, and at night you could see the stars because it didn't have all the lights from the city and smog and all that crap. And I swear I saw some type of flying object that did a weird pattern that no flying thing I've ever seen do. And that was in the 90s.
I have a story to follow up on that.
So, I would just say yes. I think it's possible.
So what about you, Chris?
Can we ask a few questions to her story?
Oh, yeah, let's do that then.
All right, Andrea. Okay, were you drinking or were there drugs involved?
No. Nope. I was walking home
What
from
kind of-
work. At a
Really?
I worked at
What
a
kind of
coffee shop.
pattern did it fly or something?
It was kind of like almost a triangle, but then it just darted off in different directions, and then it was gone.
That's actually part of the story that I have.
Yeah, it was. So yeah.
By the way,
Wow.
Trin wants to know if it could have been a drone. Drones didn't exist back then.
This is probably before you were born, Trent.
Yes, it would be. This would have been about 10 years before you were born. Worked all over the world.
Aw.
Currently work at military airport. UFOs are a thing, but not aliens. To Jinter, I think we could all kind of nod in agreement as much as we'd like it to be otherwise. Yeah.
See,
It's Bigfoot flying planes.
I can't believe we're the only ones in this universe, right? You know.
Does anybody not believe that there is other life in the universe?
Well,
Not our galaxy, the whole universe.
You gotta look at it this way. We're aliens to other cultures. They may not look like us, but when we go visit other planets,
Well, real quick, Chris, Elizabeth, you believe there's other life somewhere in the universe?
There has
Sure.
to be.
Okay.
We
Trin
can't
says,
be the anomaly.
okay. Trin says, I don't believe. Okay. So, and I'm not saying like aliens have arrived here, we're going to alien world. Just,
It's
know,
not
is
like
there
the
other
movies.
life somewhere in all this? Okay. So we've clarified that. So when we agree with Tajinter that UFOs, unidentified flying object, are a thing, but not aliens. I don't think we're going to argue with that. My theory is if aliens have arrived, it was not through a mechanical means. It would be more like through some kind of portaling, etc. But we'll get into that later. Jamin says, anything could be UFO if you're bad enough at identifying things.
It's true.
He is not wrong. Okay.
That frisbee coming at your face.
no. But you know it's a frisbee, so it's not unidentified.
Not until later.
Yeah. I was staring at that frisbee, wondering why it was getting bigger. Then it hit me.
Any more questions?
Jules says in crafting slang, UFOs are unfinished objects.
I have a lot of those.
So, any other questions from you guys for Andrea about her story before we go into your guys' story and then my stories?
I have more, but
Oh,
we'll do that later.
okay. We'll just go round robin. Everybody gets one story.
All right.
Chris,
Oh.
go.
Oh, I'm first.
Well,
I
you're
was
second.
first.
Thanks for ignoring Andrea going first.
Ugh.
Jerk. Oh, he's caught in the tractor beam.
It would have been the mid to late 90s, I would say, and where were we back? We were backpacking somewhere, and yeah, it was a bunch of us, out late with telescopes looking at the sky, and there was a little 3 grouping of something up there that was moving weird, and 4 of us saw it, and then it was gone, and then no one else believed us that we saw something. So, you know.
Yours ties into hers and the story I will relate.
And it's around the same time.
Yeah, so's mine.
Mm-hmm.
Though actually mine is probably late 80s. Any questions for Chris, anybody?
Where were you at? What
Somewhere Virginia mountains, probably West Virginia mountains somewhere. It's still on the East Coast, but
Okay.
Couple of comments from the crew here. To Jinter, in specific, says, I have a hard time believing because life is way complex and it's statistically impossible for life to even happen here. The odds of the impossible happening twice is hard to believe. The more you research how complex life is, it's terrifying to even imagine how impossible it is. Tajinter, by the way, Tajinter wants to know what time of day from both of you, but before you answer, Tajinter, what I'll say about life is, yes, pretty much fucking impossible, which means if the impossible happened, then nothing is any longer impossible. Because we have broken that.
Possibly. What time?
What time of day?
It was night.
yeah, late at night.
How late for you?
I don't know, midnight-ish.
Okay, I would say between 9 and 10-ish Eastern time.
Trin, I have not ignored that question. Right now we're addressing the actual objects as opposed to aliens. So we will get to, Trin wants to know what is the definition, in your guys' own words, of an alien. Give us a minute, we'll get to that, Trin. We're gotcha. Elizabeth, let's talk about yours.
Well, I've grown up on air bases around the world, military bases, and the ones I have are also from the 90s because I had a little bit more time. I could lay on friends' roofs and look up at the sky, and this was in California.
And now
When
they're
we
like,
were
get
outside,
off our roof.
we were outside near air bases and even Lockheed bases where there was a lot of training and experiments done out in Palmdale. But it was continually, and I think it was only because it was nighttime. You tend to notice lights, of course, and also we just, before we went to bed, would lay there and whatever, watch the stars.
Make out.
And there would be just objects moving differently than other objects. I occasionally would see a rocket being tested, or what I assume would be a rocket that would go flying through the air with strange bursts after it. But I've had friends comment to me to do this, and I did it once. No, I don't have the tape anymore, but I was going to do it again up at the mountains. And they said, during the day, focus your camera not directly at the sun, of course, because it's going to ruin your camera, but get it outside the sun, close to the sun, but maybe here, and you will see objects flying around on a normal day. He says you'll get them on tape. And we did one time. I couldn't tell what they were because, of the zoom in and just the blur factor.
That sounds like a project for this weekend for you. Bring a tripod.
I'm not going to get obsessed on it, but I was going to throw up the tripod and just leave the camera lens open at night and the day and just see what happens.
We'll jump in and do
photobomb.
Yeah.
A couple of comments here, if I may, from Tajinter. Tajinter says, where on the horizon / sky was it? And this is particularly for, though I guess it could go for all three of you, really. Andrea?
Okay.
Up.
Directly up?
No, not straight up, but kind of like
45-degree angle up, or just above the horizon?
A little above 45, I guess.
So 45 would be here.
A little bit higher than that.
So almost.
So like above the buildings, and there was like 3- and 4-story buildings.
So above the buildings on the horizon. So you're actually looking about 15 to 30 degrees up.
I didn't think about it too much. I just know I saw that.
Okay,
and
Chris?
It was above the buildings.
Trying to think. Honestly, I don't remember. It's not like we were looking at our zenith or anything, but it was way up there. It wasn't close to the horizon.
Okay, Elizabeth?
Jeez. Yeah, I'll agree with Andrea. Somewhere from the horizon, I guess 45, 50 degrees.
Okay. Now,
But we could see the satellites because
Right.
we would track them. We knew
Right.
the paths of these certain satellites
by
and
the way,
planes,
let me-
and
With
it would
the app, right?
stuff would stand out.
let me do this for you guys. There's a great app that is free. It's called Skyview Free. And when you turn it on, you aim it, it shows you the stars and their names, the constellations, the satellites, asteroids that are going past Earth or comets, planets, and you could even look straight down through the Earth and it'll show you what's up.
You don't know this. Okay, at work, we did fire safety day on Saturday, and one of the rescue squad people were there.
Night, John. Drive safe, man.
Bye, John.
Go ahead.
And one of the kids is like, "Where's that airplane going?" And the lady, she had her thing, she had an app, she pointed at the plane, touched it, and it said where it was going and where it was coming from and all that. I'm like,
What is the name of the app, Andrea?
I don't remember.
Why? I'm not talking to
I
you.
don't
I got
know.
my story now. By the way, Tajinter says in California you can lay outside and see all kinds of weird shit. That usually means you need to change your smoking brand.
Get a different
The
dealer.
story I'm going to tell you guys that relates to what each of you has said is actually a secondhand story. This would have been about 1986. I was talking
Hey,
to
the year I was born.
There we go. I was talking to a couple of friends who I worked with her, and her husband was I want to say he was a cop and a biker. But they were talking about an experience they had had earlier in the year, in the springtime. It was fall when we had this discussion. And they were at their previous place. They were currently in an apartment. Previous place they could overlook the airport. And one night, I forget which one called the other one, but they both stared out as they saw three objects moving in very quick and precise movements, in a way not even a helicopter can. Three objects in the sky. So this would have been in your same range, less than 45-degree angles, but above the horizon. And helicopters did eventually lift off to try to catch them, and these things just stood still and then zip, pim, pim, like very sharp turns. So, there we go. Elizabeth's got footage of a UFO there. So,
Is this like your
Bigfoot?
No, this one.
Bigfoot
No,
footage?
no. This is from Navy pilot.
I don't know. This looks like a mandala. Oh, this is the commercial.
Okay. So that's one thing for that. I did not see that firsthand. I have 2 or 3 firsthand experiences, which, here's the fun fact about me. I try to explain things away. As much as I want ghosts or aliens or Bigfoot or any of these things to exist, I am a man of logic. And if I can't basically explain how it is real, then I have to assume I have not had enough evidence to prove it's real. Or if I can explain it away easily, then hold on. Tajinter says, I actually had a UFO today. Small white sphere, high atmosphere, moving east to west over Virginia at approximately 40 to 45 degrees from the horizon before it changed course to a northeast direction. Airplane, my friend? It's, Trin is using the bathroom. Something Jamin said earlier, by the way. I have a picture of a UFO. I probably threw that hubcap 50 times to get that perfect photo.
That's funny.
Well, now you've identified it.
Silly.
Now it's an IDO. IFO. IFO. So, you mentioned you had other experiences.
No, I have other stories.
Tajinter clarified sphere. Never seen one that was round.
Yeah, I never saw one that was round either.
Most-
It wasn't even oblong. It wasn't like what you see in the movies. It had angles on it. Because of where the lights were. I don't know. Alright. I do have another story. And if she was still alive, she would tell you herself. My friend, Gay, who passed away several years ago, she said...
So we think.
Well, she would
She
tell
just went home.
The Bigfoot.
She would tell me all these stories because her and her husband traveled all over the world installing x-ray machines. in hospitals. It was like
Glad you clarified it was in hospitals. That's so
In
like randomly in
hospitals.
towns.
But she said that she had an experience with an alien, and it's nothing like what you would see. They're not green. They're not scary. She said that she had this encounter, and it was very calming. And their skin was smooth and kind of reflective, like metal, different colors. Like oil and water. I found it very interesting.
Check your mics, guys. One of you is breathing into it. Go ahead.
But she didn't tell a lot of people because
Right.
crazy old lady. But that's it.
Okay.
She just told me about her experience and how common it was, and nothing like what
So
you would
what did
think
they
it would
do?
be.
Like have lunch or anal probe or
No.
somewhere in between? Where
No,
what
she
happens?
doesn't remember everything. She just remembers the feeling and kind of what they looked like, but that was it. So.
A light snack and then some heavy petting.
Yeah.
It's just like your last visit here. Tajinter says, the odd thing was I couldn't zoom in on it. I had a solid point of reference, but my phone and camera wouldn't pick it up. So, Tajinter, you're being serious here. Okay. See, and by the way, Tajinter, I think most of us would agree, in all likelihood,
It's Bigfoot.
these objects, as opposed to I encountered an alien, that would be a whole nother structure of possibilities. But the
Never seen it.
objects are probably Earth-made objects. What it sounds like we experienced in the 80s and 90s could have been the test things for modern drones.
Yeah.
As Trin has said.
But who knows?
And why wouldn't the military go over an airport or something like that just to fuck with the locals?
I have seen aliens, but they're all from Mexico.
Okay, you know what, Trump, shut up. So, Trin, go ahead and type that out there. I've seen a so-called alien once. Go ahead and give us an explanation on that. Chris, do you have another encounter or story? Or are you done? Is that all you got?
No, not really.
Okay, Elizabeth? You got another one?
I can't think of anything right now.
Okay, I've got at least
But-
two more.
All right.
Okay, go for it.
Now, I think all three of you have probably heard these stories. Bear with me while
I'm sure
I tell
I
them
have.
anew. I'm pretty sure, yeah. Test pilots drawing giant penises in the sky to fuck with people. Okay, but they see the plane on that one. It's coming right out of the tip. So there was one time, I guess, again, about that same age, which, 15, maybe 16, around
Good
midnight,
time at band camp. Sure, go on.
walking alone through a field.
Or so you thought.
And now this is South Florida, so there are alligators, there are other animals. Though it's a established civilized area, we're still not that damn far from the Everglades. I'm walking across a field in the middle of the night. It is a bright moon out, and you hear the sound above me that sounds like a hot air balloon. You know that noise of the burner going off of a hot air balloon. Which, by the way, sounds very similar to the sound a alligator would make, and we have a lot of those in South Florida.
Is that what they sound like?
A bit, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, quite a bit. Chris, you're muted.
Yeah, kinda.
Yeah, it's though hearing it here versus muted by the tall waist-high grasses is a very different thing, and this was definitely a noise from above me. Now, I didn't know what it was. I looked up. It was a clear night, like I said, not a full moon, but a fuller moon. And I couldn't find anything in the sky. Nothing was blocking out stars. And frankly, if you had a hot air balloon, even if they're not pulling the burner, you're gonna see a flame. There was nothing up there. I went home. Not running, screaming, just went home. And Trin, I will respond to that in just a moment. The next day, I returned, and there were circles of flattened grass in that area. I didn't measure it. I didn't look for anything. I just went, there's flat grass here. Not like something drove across the grass, knocking it all down. Just, there's this flat area in the middle. So, whatever that was, whatever that noise was, don't know. Unexplained. Strictly unexplained. Let me read Trin's here. Yeah, Chris got something quick. Trin says, it was in a cornfield on a drive to Wisconsin. And it was metallic silver, and it looked like a person, but its eyes didn't look human. It was more like cat eyes. And no, didn't look like a guy in a costume. It was about 3 foot tall, with long, flipper-like feet. Freaked me out so much I'm still getting goosebumps thinking about it. It just stared at me while I passed by. It was terrifying, especially since I don't believe in aliens. Oh, she clarifies it was Dobby.
So she sounds like Batman?
She does. Trin, in reality, sounds like Batman.
She's scared.
Yeah, she is.
The video I posted was the security cam in the driveway where the Dobby runs by.
Yeah. Now, the only other encounter that I have had, personally, and this one I can totally... By the way, keep in mind, teenage minds are very full of hormones, etc. Also, I was a reader in my teens, and I did read Communion by Whitley Strieber, which is a great fucking book, because though it's classified as fiction, he writes it first person from his, as the author, point of view of alien encounters in his own home. Great book, by the way. Yes, Trin, you are. And there are hormones going on. There is the forming of a personality and an opinion that is going on throughout your whole life, but heavily in the teens. And I recognize that. So any perceptions I have at this point in time can definitely be colored by certain other things. To Ginger, I'll get to that in just a moment. So, I was sleeping. I guess I was 14 or 15 at this point in time. So all these are very much around the same area, which in itself can be suspicious. Because it's all in that same age grouping of 2 or 3 years, when I was heavily looking for these things to happen. I'm laying in my waterbed, and I wake up. It's still dark, don't know what time it is, and I'm laying on my back looking at the ceiling, and I can see a silhouetted form next to my waterbed. Now keep in mind, the waterbed is probably 24 inches off the ground for the edge. This thing is only about 18 to 24 inches taller than the waterbed itself. So maybe 3.5 to 4 feet tall. I force my eyes closed very slowly. I force my head to turn very slowly, and I open my eyes. The thing next to the bed, and now we're going with the classic gray alien imagery with this one, though I didn't necessarily focus very well, but there was a metallic box with some sort of antenna or something on it, standing next to my bed. I was not terrified. I was nothing. And I closed my eyes, turned my head back straight up, and my eyes popped open. Now, I always left my bedroom door open about 6 inches so my cat could pass in and out, because she'd like to sleep with me. And I ran out of the room and ran to the back window, which overlooked a man-made lake, and the sun was just cresting the horizon. And there was no disturbance. I checked my mother's room, my brother's room, nothing to be seen. The cat wasn't freaking out or anything. But that's it, and this is easily explained away by the dreaming mind, the subconscious, etc., especially considering the type of material I read. Let me read to Ginters here. Scariest UFO I ever saw was off the side of the western coast of Africa. Great big boom that knocked me out of the car. You've got to explain what that means. Nothing but a strange ripple in the sky. Scared the hellfire out of me. Thankfully, I managed to track it down. A hypersonic aircraft doing low altitude tests. Assholes. And so Lise found out what it was. Tejinter says, "Yup, didn't have friends in low places, but I've never known what the hell it was." Okay. Oh, Victoria, how are you? Here's to your beautiful, beautiful face.
Hi, Victoria.
Thank you for swinging by. Hey, Victoria, you know what? If you subscribe now, you might get that the founder badge. And Kevin, you might also. I think you're subscribed right now, though, Kev. Yeah, 2 months.
Mine kicks in on the 19th.
You've already got the founder badge, Joe. So, any questions or comments on anything so far, guys?
I asked my grandfather.
Mhm.
He was a pilot in the Air Force for 20 years and 30, and he flew everything in the SAC, Strategic Air Command. So he flew a lot of hours, and I asked him if he ever saw anything, and he always said no. And then he finally said, "All right." He said he did see something, and they were about 30,000 feet up, and it was daytime. And God, I can't remember where he was. He was either in Europe. Well, I can't even say that. So anyway, he said it was just a light that flew across their view incredibly fast. Now he's in some kind of huge plane, bomber, flying high up, but still they're kicking what, 400 miles an hour, 500, not sure.
Mm-hmm.
And this is probably in the 50s or 60s. Just flew past him without even slowing down. One way, the other way, and then it came right at him and over. He said he had no idea. It was so fast. And they had no hope of catching it. They just recorded it, marked it in the log, and there you go.
Trin wants to know 2 things. She has reiterated her question, what is an alien, which we'll go round robin on that one. Elizabeth, we'll start with you in just a moment. Then she also asks, anyone seen anything in the past 2 years, or at least since she was born 20 years ago? So, Elizabeth, let's start with you. Go ahead and answer both if you like. And Victoria, yes, Amazon Prime is a great way to subscribe that costs you nothing and still supports the channel. Go ahead, Elizabeth.
Trent, that my sightings laying on my friend's roof, that was 22 years ago, so
Not that
that's
long,
kind of close. Yeah, it's not too bad. Out here, there's so much light pollution. I don't see anything. In terms of alien,
How do you define
I guess
alien?
I'm not going to say the standard. It's a foreigner of a country or a nation, but I guess for me, if someone says an alien, I'll say a space alien, because I assume anyone not of originally this planet. That's what I consider an alien. If asked, have I ever seen an alien? Well, I have no idea. They could be disguised. I mean, some people claim to be star children.
Do you think
some people
you've
claim
ever
dolphins
seen
are
an alien?
aliens?
Go with that.
I don't think I have.
Okay.
I think I've met some freaky people in my time, but I don't believe I've ever met an alien.
Before Chris goes, Ginger says, my doctor was an alien from India, and I got probed. Chris, what about you? Define alien, and have you seen anything in the past couple days?
I would say in the last 2 years, or even in the last 20, well, at least, close to 20. I haven't spent much time outside at night, and most of it has not been in areas where, again, there isn't excessive light pollution. I live in and near big cities, because theater needs big cities to happen, so...
Right. So do you want to define alien as it is in your mind?
I mean... Yeah, I think Elizabeth is on that, I'm on that train. Something not from the planet. It doesn't have... I'm not saying, it has to be a giant, fully formed, sentient creature, there has to be weird, crazy space bacteria, extremophiles out there somewhere that are still clinging on to shit.
True.
That totally count, not necessarily extraordinary complex life, but there's got to be something more than that. They found traces on some asteroids that they were doing testing on, so...
And we will get into that. I want to go into that for a moment a little more, but I want to give Andrea a chance before we go into that. Want to define alien? Have you seen anything in the past decade or two?
It was about 25 years when I saw stuff. I may see stuff now, but we're so close to military stuff. I don't know. As for an alien, anything foreign. For me, anything foreign to me that I don't understand until I research it is alien to me.
Couple of comments from Kevin in particular here. Oh, by the way, Trin says, defining it for herself, I would consider an alien a being that is unknown to humankind. And I'm not. You're not wrong, Trin.
See, I don't know all of what humankind knows.
Kevin says, I've never witnessed anything I truly feel happy calling UFO. Light in the sky on an island can be odd anyway, though. Overnight produce farms and so on, casting ambient light into the sky, pretty when you're drunk. Then he agrees with Trent, saying, I suppose in this context it means a creature or form of life from an origin other than Earth. Which, let's do this.
I've seen some freaky stuff that originates on Earth, so I don't know.
On dictionary.com, the number 7, the 7th definition of alien is unlike one's own, strange, not belonging to one. Okay, the reason I didn't do this is because a lot of this does go into estranged people, foreigners, disparaging or offensive, resident of country, blah, blah, blah. And I jumped over that. Here's the bottom line. What we are referring to as an alien here would be something that is unknown to us as a society. Now, bouncing back to Chris's comment about on asteroids or meteorites coming to Earth or moon rocks or something recovered from Mars, which we haven't recovered anything from Mars yet, I don't believe. We've never had a return trip from Mars, as far as I know, that the government has announced. But that's a different show. Which one? Total Recall?
Martian.
Oh, yeah, that one.
That was good.
And I'll get to all these other comments, except for Kevin's right now I'm going to address. He says, my mother-in-law, for example. Yeah, it's something we, as a societal consciousness, have not experienced or explored yet. So this may be, a little green man, a little gray man, which, by the way, I work all that mythology into my books. Totally plugging my books here. Anywhere from the Talent Agency that takes place about 20, 30 years in the future to my medieval fantasy, which takes place 35,000 years in the future after the collapse of the world and the rebuilding. Tajinter says, strange thing, not alien, but not explainable, is the flicker on Highway 68 north of Greensboro, North Carolina. When you drive it between midnight and 1 a.m., people report that on cresting the big hill between Greensboro and Oak Ridge, the sky flickers for a fraction of a moment. Most people here experienced it, but don't like talking about it. Jewel, Jamin, care to comment on that, please? You're in that area. You're very close to Ginter, emotionally and physically.
They're probably making it flicker,
Pickle Lady, which is Elizabeth. Wave at the camera, Elizabeth. So they know it's not Chris. Joe Rogan interviews the pilot who records the footage that she posts in this link. Trin says, I have to go to bed. I'll be lurking while I fall asleep. Hey, Trin, incoming probe, baby. You just wait.
Oh my.
Tajinter says, we believe it's just a reflection of the town lights reflecting wrong or right. Just don't know. I don't know what blagged is, but today Kevin blagged someone into buying a copy of Drowning Kittens. Well done. I think I have...
Maybe nagged?
Hey, if I give you guys a link to a bunch of my books in ebook format, will any of you fucking review them? Because I'll give you free books.
You have to read and review them.
But yeah, please review them. Do me a favor on this one. If not, don't worry about it. Just don't respond at all. And I won't post it.
There's a I can't remember where it is. I heard Dan Aykroyd is very into UFOs and Bigfoot, and he did a long interview with Joe Rogan and talked about all sorts of things. And, he's the one that makes that really good vodka, Crystal Skull vodka. He talks about an area in Texas where they see lighting similar to that, where you can go out and on a nightly basis, people go out and they sit in the back of the pickups drinking beer and watch all these weird lights flying around. Like, it's a nightly thing to do, and I'm looking for that right now.
Oh, did you hear about the Area 51 thing where like millions of people said they on Facebook they'd go and only like 250 people
Really?
showed up?
Yeah.
And then one old woman got the farthest.
Did she really?
Because she's really an alien.
Yeah. She just walked through the gates. And even the sheriff and a state trooper were like, don't do it, don't do it. She did it. And they just watched her go.
That's crazy.
That's funny.
And then she was never seen or heard from again.
Give me a second, guys. I'm getting you the link for all the free books. I apparently shut the link down thinking nobody wanted them. And also, I'll have 24 free ebooks coming up. Chris, you're getting one if you don't mind, if you want one.
Okay.
It's only a 33-minute book, I believe. But
An audiobook or?
audiobook, yeah, audiobook.
Oh yeah, I can't listen to that when I drive. I fall asleep.
No,
Very
it's
soothing.
it's much more interactive than normal. Here we go, guys. I got it now for you. Keep reminding me, Trin. Keep reminding me. There we go. That should give you. There's that link for 14 ebooks.
There you
Tajinter, the military should have taken that seriously.
go.
The whole
You
because
never know.
people are morons.
Yeah.
Yep.
Gary, I will definitely get them to you when that comes through. The first one has not published yet, but you guys are going to see me recording a lot of audiobooks over the next 2-3 months. And once they're complete. Does it really? Give me just a second, guys. Okay, no, it shouldn't be. Because I clicked on it and it came through to Jinter. But here's the raw link instead of the shortened link. Okay, back to the UFO
Oh, that one
alien
worked
content.
for me. So
The first one?
I don't. Let's see. Nope. Second one did though.
First one worked for me. I don't know what it is.
Because it's yours.
No.
It worked for me,
Okay.
but you've also sent me the link before, so I've accessed the Google Drive doc before.
Well,
Why did...
Okay, Trin, quit deleting messages
what did it
willy-nilly.
say?
It said, cool, that works. Trin, it says you just deleted Tajinter's message. You didn't do that? Okay, Twitch is having a moment, guys. I could explain all of it. Yeah, Gary,
It's aliens.
I'm leaving that up. If you guys bookmark it, all I ask is take one, read one. These are not the audiobooks. These are the written books, but ebook format. And just review them for me, guys. The more reviews there are, the more Amazon's algorithm kicks in.
And the more people see it.
Right.
It will not let me do it. It erased all my reviews.
Because we're connected.
We share an address and stuff now.
So anyhow, but it doesn't have to be a 5-star, be honest. Okay, so back to aliens and UFOs, guys. So we've defined aliens. We've discussed our encounters with UFOs or aliens. Thank you, Gary. I appreciate it. And Trin, you also.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
alright. I don't know if... Because this was the thing when I was younger. Have you ever felt you wake up and you can't move and you can't talk and you feel
Yes.
like someone is watching you? I used to think that was aliens.
Right.
But it's a brain thing.
It is. It is a condition.
Sleep paralysis.
No, you're okay, Trin.
Well,
You're
that's
okay.
what we've convinced ourselves it is.
Night terrors.
Or science has proven.
I mean, they can prove it, but doesn't mean that all of them are that.
You're right. You're right. It's because that's one thing about medicine. There's a reason they call it practice medicine.
You know, medicine doesn't work the same on everyone. You
No.
know,
I used to be really worried about aliens and stuff like that because it was a big thing and it was in the news and all over everywhere. It was a big thing, and I thought that's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got older, did more research. These studies came out.
Tajinter says, or is that what they have convinced us it is?
Shut up.
All right, let's hit that conspiracy shit for a minute.
Absolutely.
So what do you think? Are aliens totally controlling our society? Because I personally feel if there is an advanced intelligence in society,
That explains.
they should be doing a fucking better job than what we're doing.
I think they're just fucking with us.
Not necessarily. If they want our planet for resources,
Why wouldn't they just drop a biological agent then?
No, we're like the reality show.
because
We're the
they're
entertainment.
patient.
What's that?
I don't know.
Constipation?
Because they're patient.
Oh, could be. That's a good enough reason for something that's alien.
I think we're just entertainment for them.
That's possible too. Elizabeth, what do you think?
I don't know, man. It just seems like so much. This is kind of not to bring it to my writing, but so much is a distraction or a temptation to keep us from distracting, to keep us distracted, so we don't pay attention to what's really going on.
Mm-hmm.
I never got really freaked out by aliens. I always just assumed, well, if there's a life form that can travel beyond our reach and scope and be here, I mean, what chance do we have? So whatever. We'll either fight or we're done. So it's always the things beyond me.
I love
the supernatural. I'm more fearful of.
Oh,
yeah.
Kinda, but not that way.
I don't know. I just feel like we're so quick to believe science because it is of our invention. It is something we completely understand. We created it. But science is only defining what happens, right? It doesn't really, sometimes there's moments it doesn't quite explain every moment of what happens. It just defines it.
Often reactionary.
So we find we find it soothing and comforting, like a blanket or a safety net. So.
And also with science and medicine, I feel it's largely the Sherlock Holmes phrasing of where you're bending facts to fit your theory instead of forming a theory around the facts.
I think human beings are absolutely capable of seeing things they want to see. No doubt.
Oh, yes, I agree.
But I think there's a lot of things out there we don't understand, and we're
like
just
women.
hanging on trying to figure it out. Try being a woman. I don't know what the hell's going on.
I did.
Now you can too.
I'm just a well-mustachioed woman. It was as little as like 3 weeks ago that somebody at work asked if I'm gay or straight.
Really?
Oh,
What'd you say?
It was a long conversation with many ins and outs.
Are you looking? Are you asking?
Oh, no, this one I would not encourage. But anyhow, moving on from that. I did have another same-sex person ask me what my sexual identity was. And when I answered with, basically, essentially, straight is what it boils down to and what they were looking for, they didn't speak to me for weeks. It was
I was going to say, and they stopped coming at me with the anal probe.
No matter how much I chased him with the cheek spread. Tejinter says, NOAA deleted 15 years of recorded atmospheric data because it didn't fit their predictions.
Oh.
Interesting.
Yeah, because then they wouldn't get more funding.
God damn it, Tejinter. I hope that's bullshit. Even if that's what was said publicly and that is absolutely what you heard or learned officially, God, I hope that's bullshit. Because deleting any actual data, not predictions, not hypotheses, not theories, but data, raw data. Don't.
I know some NOAA librarians. I'll ask.
Do that. He says they got sued over it last year. I feel like this is an easy Google search at this point.
Damn it.
Last time Noah did that.
Building,
Well done, Kevin.
We miss you, Kevin.
Something I do want to let folks know is next Monday we should have a show per usual. We're probably going to go creepy and ooky and kooky and spooky.
Yeah, I'll be here.
Following Monday, if things work out correctly, there will be no Chris, no Kevin, no Ed, no Elizabeth. There'll be the sound of a tattoo gun and Travis for many hours.
Not me.
Andrew will be there.
Alright.
No.
How many hours?
4 to 6.
6+.
Wow.
6+, is that what it is?
That's a big
it's
penis.
At least 6 hours. It's a tap out.
Is that what it is?
At least 6 hours. Yeah. I won't be there. I have to work till 9:30.
Oh, man, I thought you had it off. I thought you asked for it off.
No, I got my vacation. I can't ask for more time off because I used to have a vacation.
Okay. Anyhow, so we've got about 8 more minutes yet. Travis getting stuck.
The last little thing that I wanted
Go,
to
Chris.
bring up was also like why do we necessarily assume that the life has to look like us? Like what the movie Evolution with David Duchovny.
Yeah.
And like the aliens came to Earth and they like weren't carbon-based life forms and they were trying to figure out, what all of that crazy shit is. So why does yes, carbon and oxygen is plentiful, but like
what was the
who says,
with
one of the
Forrest
other elements
Whitaker?
can't start something that way?
Well, we basically have carbon and silicon, and that's the only life forms we discuss scientifically or science fictionally. There was a movie with Jodie Foster and Forrest Whitaker, and I have it on my shelf. Great movie, by the way. First Alien Contact. Anybody remember it? They were actually fourth
Contact.
Contact. Thank you. So yeah, here's the reason, Chris. First of all, it gives us a Hollywood reference. That's really the biggest reason. The second reason is the theory of convergent evolution. Our small human perception and minds go, well, obviously there's only one way this shit works. Which, if we looked at our own goddamn planet, we'd realize there are hundreds of ways this could work in a carbon-based life form alone. If you look from avian to mammalian to reptilian to cephalopods.
How come penguins don't have knees?
By the way, Toei totally interrupted you with Mars Attacks was the best alien movie.
Accidentally in that
outer
movie.
space.
What, Chris?
Oh, really?
My dad is accidentally in Mars Attacks.
Oh, yeah.
That's fabulous.
Aren't we all? But you mean you put his
He's,
penis in the VCR?
walking on the street in one of the shots of DC because they were filming in Arlington near his office.
Nice.
That's fine.
That's great.
Is he
I
an
agree,
alien?
Chris. It seems like to me if there was a location on Earth we would find aliens, it would be in the seas, deep in the ocean,
Yes.
because
My books.
it just feels right.
Melting.
My books tie into that, Elizabeth. The original aliens, the Truods, the species, originally came in there like an octopus-related species that become humanoid to better blend with the higher intelligence on land.
Tentacle porn.
Tentacle porn. Tajinter says there's a Reddit board. Yeah, right there, you've lost me, but let's go on. Based around the idea that we are horrible orcs for the rest of the universe because we're pretty scary when you break it down. We are primitive, we are angry, we are aggressive, we are violent, we are xenophobic, we are a horrible fucking species that I have very little hope for.
We also can take life-threatening wounds and recover from them, whereas most creatures, you break a bone, they're going to die fairly soon after.
Except for cephalopods.
Well, they don't have bones.
Yeah, exactly. My point. Thank you.
There was a whole thing on Tumblr when Tumblr was
A
still
thing.
a thing about these story threads about, we live on a death planet. It's not stable for most life, and yet here we are, and instead of, oh, this volcano destroyed that island. Well, what did we do? We just moved to the other side of the island and rebuilt things and it was fine. Or, this area is prone to earthquakes. Well, did we move out of the way of the earthquakes? No, we just built stronger buildings.
This is something I bitch about often with our, air quote, advanced civilization. Why the fuck do we keep building shit in death zones? Why do we have civilization on the coast instead of just vacation homes that we can lose and not cry about? Why do
I
we...
want a vacation home. Okay.
Tornado Alley. Why do we build shit there? Floodplains. Why do we keep building houses there that aren't on stilts? By the way,
because population growth is insane.
Absolutely
because if we
wrong.
didn't, we'd
Totally
all be
wrong.
crammed in 4 different mountains. And even then, that's still not safe.
We have so much space we can expand across. And by the way, if we are
Especially out
actually
here.
we throw away way more food than we consume every year.
And there's so many abandoned buildings that could house people.
Well, the U.S. alone could feed the whole world in what we produce.
And what we throw away.
And nobody would go hungry. But that's another topic. That is not aliens. We're on the last 4 minutes.
That's next show.
Hang on. Before we get too rough on people, plants are vicious. Plants are ambitious.
They're aliens.
And I'm gonna post a couple links there's two titles: Zombie ant killed by entopathogenic fungus, and zombie parasite takes over insects.
Those are not
We
plants. You know
we
that.
think
Oh, fungus,
it's a
sorry.
human nature to think we're badasses. Nature
No.
is the evil bitch,
This is
and
why when
she'll
people
do
are
us
There's a
all in.
plant that looks like it's eyeballs, and birds can eat it, but it'll kill humans slowly.
See, this is why when people are like, I lost my train of thought. Let me read comments. Tajinter says, sitting here welding metal to our rock bone teeth. Tajinter, I'll only say I'm sorry you missed last night's D&D game. Speaking of rock bone.
Yeah.
Tajinter says, we built it again. That one fell over. So we built it a third time. That one caught fire. Fell over and then sank into the swamp. Well done. Everything on the planet is scary. The idea that nature is lovely and peaceful is Disney bullshit. Tajinter?
Here, to gender.
Yes, but no. Yes and no. There is
Nature
both
here's
sides of it.
okay, but in Australia, holy shit.
Okay, guys, we're going to rock our way out of here with a little outro music. I want to thank you guys for hanging out. Don't forget, we will have these on replays in other places. So you guys have a good night. We're going to hold up our drinks to you as we do some outro music. Any closing comments from anybody before we go?
Yeah, she's dancing before the music.
She is.
We love our audience.
We do love our audience. Guys, I really...
Evolution's on Netflix. You should go watch it.
David Duchovny, good flick.
Oh, and Train to Busan. It's scary, cool, fun.
What, is it
Not
sci-fi?
Zombies on a train.
Okay, no, that's okay then. Let's do some outro music, guys. Dance along.
Thanks for joining us in the discussion. Shenanigans.
Drive safe to
You're the one
Jinter.
thing that
Let
makes
us know
the
you
show
got there
what it
okay.
is. Don't
Tune in
forget to
tomorrow
join us
night.
at the Tavern next week.
Yes, Busan.
Until then, have fun, keep learning, and be good to one another. Now, raise your glass in good cheer.
Now
Enjoy the
raise your
small
glass in good
moments
cheer.
every day, and steamy dreams every night.
Bum, bum, bum.